Every day before darkness falls, this man sprays alcohol on his front door. The moment he gets home, the first thing he does is clean his dog. As soon as he sees the sun is about to set, he immediately puts up special steel plates and locks all the doors and windows shut. But even with not a single light on in the house, he still doesn't feel safe. He sits curled up in the bathtub, holding his rifle close to his chest, with his dog right beside him. Only then does he find some peace. The reason he takes such extreme precautions is because the moment night falls, the world outside no longer belongs to humans. Terrifying hordes of zombies roam the streets, spreading fear everywhere. Because almost 5 years ago, back in 2012, a virus caused total destruction. This virus killed 90% of humans, while 9% were turned into zombies. These zombies are afraid of sunlight. They only come out at night, and their sense of smell is incredibly sharp. Meanwhile, our main character Will has survived this virus because he falls in that less than 1% of people who have a strong natural antibody. Will was racing through the empty streets of New York in his Ford Mustang. He was chasing a deer right through the middle of the city. In this world where he's the only one left, food has become the most basic and the most important need. But just as he was about to make the kill, a lioness suddenly leaped out and got to the deer before him. Seeing his prey snatched away, Will thinks about shooting the lioness. But then a male lion and a cub also appear. Looking at the three of them, Will is reminded of his dead family. He doesn't pull the trigger because he knows the lions are keeping nature's balance. Before heading out to search for other survivors, Will goes down to his underground medical room. He checks whether the mutant rats have returned to normal after the treatment, but he still sees no change. Will is actually a brilliant scientist. He has developed a gene therapy based on a virus vaccine. Just when he thought today would be another disappointing day, he noticed that one mutant rat no longer had the strength to attack. This gave him a clue that the rat was slowly returning to normal. If this experiment on the rat succeeds, he could turn those zombies back into normal humans too. During the daytime, to search for survivors in zombie hideouts, Will leaves his house every morning at exactly 8 o'clock. Every day he drives to a video store, changes a CD, and chats with the mannequins he has placed there. Watching this, nobody could even imagine how lonely a person can get that he has to make friends with mannequins. He marks every place he visits on his map and collects food and essential supplies from those locations. To find other survivors, he calls out on the radio every day at exactly 12 noon. Then he drives to the dock, hoping for a miracle. But 3 full years have passed and he has never received a single reply. To deal with the loneliness, Will goes to the Enterprise aircraft carrier in the afternoon. He stands on top of a plane and plays golf. But during this time, his dog noticed something strange. There was movement somewhere in the distance. Will immediately grabs his rifle, looks through the scope, and finds that it's a deer. Without wasting a second, he takes his dog and heads out to hunt. But then something bad happens. The deer runs around frantically and accidentally gets trapped in a closed area. Panicked, it runs inside a building. The dog probably hadn't had meat in a very long time, so without any fear, it chases the deer right into the building. Will tries to stop it. Will panics, but for the sake of his dog, he has to go inside. It was completely dark in there. Nothing was visible at all. Even if I had turned the video brightness all the way up, the atmosphere still felt even more terrifying. At this point, Will's heart was pounding badly. Even a mirror could scare him. While searching for his dog upstairs, he suddenly heard a painful scream. He feared something terrible might have happened to his dog. Gathering his courage, he moved forward. Following the bloodstains on the stairs, he found a severed animal head at the corner. The relief was that when he moved further, he discovered it was a moose that had just been killed. But the fear on the moose's face from before its death was clearly visible. Seeing this, Will raised his gun and started looking around. Then he saw another terrifying sight. Within moments, a horde of zombies was less than 5 meters away from him. Will had to gather every ounce of courage for his dog and go inside. Finally, he found his German Shepherd hiding under a table, looking absolutely terrified. Just as he was about to step forward and call the dog's eyes locked onto something directly behind Will's back. Will felt something was wrong. The moment he turned around, a horrifying scene unfolded before him. Will started running toward the exit like a madman with his dog, but eventually the zombies caught up to them. The good thing was that Will jumped out of a dark window just in time. The moment sunlight hit the zombie chasing him, it collapsed to the ground, injured. Even though the experience scared Will badly, it also helped him discover their hideout. To experiment on the zombies, Will set up a trap outside. He took a vial of his own blood and placed it at the building's door while he hid outside. And sure enough, within just 2 minutes and 30 seconds, a zombie got caught in the trap. The moment the trap activated, a living zombie was forcefully pulled outside. But right then, with a furious roar, a scary-faced zombie suddenly came charging out, as if he wanted to eat Will alive right there. Will couldn't even understand why this zombie was so angry. After returning home, Will was busy experimenting on the captured zombie. He had absolutely no idea that this female zombie was actually the wife of the zombie that had just been roaring, the Zombie King. Because Will had captured her, a full-blown war between zombies and humans had begun. He was the only living human in this city, but he was shocked when he noticed that a mannequin's head had suddenly moved. What was even more terrifying was that this mannequin, which was supposed to be at the video store entrance, had somehow appeared several kilometers away. Nobody could understand how. Will immediately pulled out his gun and aimed at the mannequin. He thought some human must have placed it there to communicate with him, but he couldn't see any human around. Because the truth was, this was a trap set by the Zombie King as revenge for capturing his wife. When Will walked toward the mannequin and bent down to look at the puddle beneath it, the trap set by the Zombie King suddenly activated. Will was yanked into the air and left hanging. Because of a head injury, Will passed out. When the sun was about to set, Will woke up to his alarm watch beeping. The moment the sunlight disappeared, the terrifying zombies came crawling out. Will quickly pulled a knife from his waist and frantically started cutting the rope tied to his legs. But the moment he hit the ground, the knife stabbed straight into his thigh. This made things even worse because the last rays of the setting sun were fading fast. The very next moment, Will sensed danger. Scary sounds started coming from the dark building in front of him. Then the Zombie King appeared and released 3 vicious hunting dogs. Because of the remaining sunlight, they couldn't reach Will just yet. But the moment the sun fully set a few minutes later, the zombie dogs attacked like wild beasts. At this point, our main character was badly wounded. Between his life and death, the only ray of hope was his German Shepherd, the dog who had stood by him through this apocalypse, his only companion, his reason to live. His biggest fear was that his German Shepherd might die. There was a pistol inside the car. Will started crawling toward it, but as the last rays of sunlight disappeared, the hunting dogs attacked even more fiercely. He was running out of time. Fighting through the pain, he got up and moved forward on his hands, but after a few steps, he collapsed again. At that exact moment, the vicious zombie dogs pounced on him. Will managed to stop their attack with his pistol, but then a second zombie dog lunged at him. Its sharp teeth were about to tear through his cheek when his German Shepherd arrived just in time and saved him. But the worst part was yet to come. During the fight, another dog had bitten the German Shepherd. Will's heart sank because only he had the antibody, not his dog. After getting home, Will immediately injected antiviral medicine into the dog. He held the dog in his lap, hoping it would recover. He was smiling and telling himself that his beloved companion would be fine. But then the dog's fur started falling off. When he lifted the dog's eyelids, he could see symptoms of the infection in the corners of its eyes. Deadly signs were appearing in its mouth too. Will's heart shattered, but reality forced him to make a painful decision. Even though he didn't want to, Will used his strong hands to end the life of his beloved companion, the one who had been with him through countless dark and lonely nights. He was completely broken, but at the same time, Will noticed something strange. When a human gets infected by the virus and turns into a zombie, they don't have much brain function, so how are they able to set traps just like humans? When he looked at the passenger seat and saw no trace of Sam, Will couldn't take it anymore. That same night, he grabbed his car and drove straight toward the dock. Without thinking, he started attacking the zombies. Being inside the car, the zombies couldn't hurt him at first, but they kept coming and completely surrounded the vehicle. They started breaking the glass. Then some zombies climbed a lamppost and dropped it right onto the car. Will got trapped inside. He saw the crowd moving toward him and desperately tried to get out of the car. But even more zombies arrived. The zombie leader gave the order to attack. Before Will could do anything, the impact flipped his car right onto the edge, and the monster stood right in front of him. Will was now like a deer caught in a trap. Death was closing in on him every second, but right at that moment, a bright light appeared, as if a human was coming toward him. Finally, he couldn't take it anymore and passed out. When he woke up, he found himself lying in his own house. The wound on his leg had been bandaged. He saw a woman beside him and she had a child with her. It had been 3 years since Will had seen another human being. He didn't even know how to talk to people anymore. Then the woman introduced herself. Anna told Will that she had heard his radio broadcast. She came to New York with the child and waited the entire day, but Will never showed up. She was thinking of going to Vermont because it was supposed to be a safe place for survivors. Hearing this, anger appeared on Will's face. He told Anna that there is no safe place anywhere. All of America has been destroyed. Anna wanted to argue, but Will shouted at her. He had always believed that he was the last living person on Earth. The mental pressure on him was enormous. In his despair, Will had become completely dependent on science and logic. He focused all his energy on finding a cure for the virus. His entire life and hopes rested on this one goal. But Anna's news suddenly changed his entire way of thinking. She told him that there were other survivors out there. This meant that Will's long years of loneliness and hard work might not have been wasted after all, because now a living human was standing right in front of him. Will struggled with his thoughts and emotions in his room for a long time. Finally, he accepted reality and came out. Anna tried to convince Will to come with them to the quarantine zone, but Will clearly refused. He said he was not leaving this place at all. After that, Anna went to Will's lab. When she saw the female zombie lying in the ice, she couldn't believe her own eyes. She asked Will if he could really cure this zombie. Then Anna noticed hundreds of zombie photographs on the wall. Will had been using them like lab rats to create a vaccine. As soon as the sunlight started to fade, Will immediately sealed all the doors and windows. Anna tried once more to convince him to come to the quarantine zone, but before Will could reply, he heard loud noises from outside. When he opened the small window and looked out, he saw a massive crowd of zombies heading toward his house. Will could not believe what he was seeing. He had always tried his best to hide his scent, but still, a huge army of zombies had found his hideout. They were charging toward the house like monsters gone mad. When Will asked carefully, he found out that when Anna had rescued him the night before, she brought him home safely, but after that, she didn't take any precautions, though there was no time to blame her now. Will immediately turned on all the powerful lights around the house, but the shocking thing was that these zombies, who were normally afraid of light, had suddenly become very clever. After destroying all the streetlights, they started moving toward Will even faster. Scared, Will activated his second line of defense and set off all the surrounding bombs at once. When Will looked again, he found that all the zombies had been killed in the explosions. But when he called out for Anna, there was no reply. He went upstairs to find her. At that exact moment, a zombie attacked him. It grabbed him tightly, lifted him off the ground, and slammed him onto a table. Helpless Will was being brutalized. Just when the zombie thought Will was dead, it didn't realize he had been faking it the whole time. Seizing the moment, Will grabbed a screwdriver and struck the zombie, but it did no damage at all. The zombie lifted him up and threw him down. Just as the zombie king came roaring toward him in rage, Will quickly grabbed a rifle lying nearby. But the zombie fled as if it knew exactly how dangerous human weapons could be. Will aimed in every direction, but the zombie hid right behind a wall, so Will aimed at a gas cylinder and pulled the trigger. The explosion sent the zombie flying outside, but still, it wasn't badly hurt. It climbed the stairs and disappeared. When Will chased after it, he found that it had jumped out the window and escaped. Will rushed inside to find the woman, but he saw another zombie in the room. Anna and the child were hiding under the closet, frozen with fear. Will signaled them to not make a single sound. He was getting ready to take the zombie out with his pistol, but then the zombie spotted them. To protect them, Will had to gather his courage and rush inside. He fired bullets at the zombie, but suddenly, loud noises came from outside. When Will opened the door, the zombie king was roaring right at him. He had actually gone to bring more of his kind. What was even scarier was that their attack this time was not just random destruction. It was fully planned. When Will looked out the window and saw the zombie leader, unease filled his heart. These zombies no longer seemed like mindless creatures. They had intelligence. All three of them rushed down to the basement. Will locked the main door tightly, and Anna hid with the child in the lab. But then she witnessed something miraculous and immediately called Will over. The vaccine Will had created was actually working. The zombie king's wife was slowly turning back into a human, but at that very moment, the zombies broke inside. Will quickly shut the glass door. He wanted to tell the zombies that he could turn all of them back into humans. But from the zombies' perspective, Will himself was the real monster. He had been capturing their kind and experimenting on them. And this time, he had even kidnapped the zombie king's wife. The entire zombie army was boiling with rage. As the zombie king kept slamming against the glass door, it was slowly cracking apart. At this moment, Will realized how dire the situation truly was. While looking around desperately, his eyes fell on a butterfly mark on the woman's neck. The moment he saw the butterfly, everything suddenly clicked in his mind. He immediately grabbed a container and extracted serum from the zombie king's wife's body. Because her blood was working like a vaccine, it could create antibodies. So he extracted the serum and sent the woman and child through a safe underground passage. After handing the serum to Anna, he sealed the gate behind them. At that very moment, the zombie king smashed through the glass. And right then, Will pulled the pin of a grenade and charged straight into the zombie horde. And that's where this amazing movie comes to an end. So tell me, How did you like this movie? If you enjoyed it, share it with your friends, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.